So the word problem part is just a review. The other day we worked at the whiteboards and practiced a bunch of word problems. The hardest part is coming up with the equations on our own. So what are we going to do for, how many examples do we have left? Example 3, example 4, example 5, example 6. So we have 4 more examples to go. What I'm going to get you to do before we put it on video is I'm going to get you to get into groups of 2, possibly groups of 3 if you need. Move around and work on these together. See if you can come up with the equations. Then we'll go over the solutions at the end. So let's see how you did on the chart for the first one. I noticed a lot of you wrote 5 cents and 20 cents. Because this has a dollar sign here, it probably would be better to write 0.05 and 0.20. And you get your 2 equations, because the number collected, C plus B, has to equal 3,000. And the money raised, 5 cents per can plus 20 cents per bottle, has to equal 195. This question says solve it using 2 different techniques. So I solved it with substitution. I took equation 1, I got C by itself. I substituted that into equation 2. And your bottles is 300 and your cans is 2,700. You could also do this with elimination. In elimination, I line things up and I multiply my equation by -5 so that my B value would become -1. When I added them up, I got the same answers. When a question asks you to verify, you take each equation, write it out, draw a line, separate the left side and the right side, plug in your answers and see if they match. If they match, then you verified your first equation. Same thing with your second equation. Write your left side and your right side. Make them equal. And if they work, then you verify them. Anybody need me to scroll up? You want to see more of it? Hold on to this for a bit. Is everybody good? See some people writing. The cost of admission for concert is $1.50 for kids and $4 for adults. 2,200 people bought and 5,500 earned. So we make our 2 equations. It's good to define your variable. So the first thing I say is I describe what K is, number of kids tickets, and A is the number of adult tickets. In total, they sold 2,200 tickets, so K plus A would equal 2,200. And the total amount of money was $5,050, so $1.50 from every kid's ticket, plus $4 from every adult's ticket, will equal $5,050. And I already took equation 1 here, and I rearranged it to get K by itself, because then I can solve with substitution. I take equation 2 and I substitute in for the K, 2,200 minus A. Combine my like terms. I solve for A to be 700, and then K is 1,500. Now this question asks you to solve with a graphing calculator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take equation 2 both my equations, and I got K by itself in both of those. Now your graphing calculator is set up for y equals y and x's, but if your letters are different, I'm just going to make my K the y and my A the x. I'm going to go to my graphing calculator, and my first equation was 2,200 minus, and right beside your alpha button is your variable button. So instead of writing k equals 2200 minus a, I've written y equals 2200 minus x. And I solve for k in my second equation. I'm going to use alpha y equals, lets you access the fraction button. I write it in exactly as I see it. 550 minus 4x, all divided by 1.5. You don't even have to rearrange it, as long as you get the letter by itself. Now, chances are if you hit graph, you won't see anything. Because if we think about these graphs, you see that this has a y-intercept of 2,200. So a couple things on your graphing calculator that you can do. Under the zoom button, there is something called, there's a whole bunch of zoom in, zoom out, zoom square, zoom trig. Sometimes I like to use the one that says zoom fit. It fits it onto your screen a little bit. Do you see the blue line and the red line? Do we see where they intersect yet? No. Does it look like they're going to intersect further over here to the right? So you can hit your window button, and if I want to see further to the right, I could go, and I already know the answers, so I know that my x is going to be 1500, so I might put 2000 on there, and I know that my y is got to be I almost drew it right. So we fiddle around until we get our graphs to intersect, and then we can calculate where they intersect, and we get the same answer of 700 and 1500 that we had from